Hi everybody and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, aka the 5-minute video, because how do you review a movie without actually talking about the movie? If you're looking for a spoiler-filled review, that'll be up on Monday, and hopefully that'll be with Christine, and we could just gush about Star Wars and talk about all the plot details. But for now, I wanted to share sort of how I felt about the movie after seeing it twice, and I thought it was a great thing to share because it actually doesn't talk about the plot of the film at all, and yet it perfectly sums up why I've seen it twice, why I have plans to see it 3 more times, and why I'm trying to find a 4th to slip in there in the middle. So here's the thing, like many people my age, I grew up with Star Wars. I was 9 or 10 years old, and like many people my age, I have recollections of knowing about Star Wars before I actually have memories of seeing Star Wars, which is an odd thing to say, but not with Star Wars because Star Wars is so ubiquitous, it has become such a common story in not just American pop culture, but in global pop culture that I think it's a common thing, right? There are people out there who haven't seen Star Wars, but they still know the lines. They know who Yoda is. They know Darth Vader and who he is in relation to Luke and things like that. And that is a testament to how good those films were. But it also, it caused me to grow up with a certain amount of envy because as a fan of the films, I would read about when they came out and there was always talk about how it just sort of took the world by storm. It wasn't hyped the way this was hyped. You know, everyone wasn't excited for it. It just sort of came out and word of mouth spread like wildfire and it just sort of took the country by storm, the world by storm. And as a result, there are so many stories of people from that era who watched the films in theaters and how exciting it all was. How exciting it was to, not to see Star Wars and then just not know where it went, right? I think people my age, we just think of Star Wars as this trilogy. And yet for people who saw it in theaters, they had to wait for Jedi, they had to wait for Empire, they had to wait for Jedi. There was all this speculation and just the excitement of being on, the edge of your seat and kids would tell stories about going to see it 10 times over the summer and memorizing all the lines and just how it became just such a infatuation. And I was envious because I never had that, and I never had the opportunity to have that. I knew about Star Wars before I saw it. I knew all the twists and turns, and yeah, I still got excited when Luke blows up the Death Star, but, I didn't get to experience that cultural moment in the world. And then, the prequels rolled around, and that sort of seemed like something that could happen. But the problem there were they were prequels. So you sort of know not how you get to where you get to, but you know where it's going. You know what Anakin's going to become. You know what's going to happen with Palpatine. These are all things that you go in knowing. So the twists are very different, more subtle. And then, obviously it's subjective, but they weren't as good as the original trilogy, in my opinion. So I just didn't have it then. And 2 nights ago, when I watched Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, for the first time, I finally got to experience the moment that, I had spent years and years wishing I could have. And it was amazing and everything I wanted it to be and more. I was on the edge of my seat. I was laughing at moments and crying at moments, and I was just so excited. There were parts of the film where my heart was racing so much. And as a lover of film and somebody who went to film school and wanted to make movies, I can say honestly, like, movies have never affected me that way before. Sure, I could get into them and I could get excited by films, but like never to a physical degree where my heart is just pumping. And this movie did that for me. And I got home at 3 a.m. after an 11 o'clock showing, and I had to be up at 7 for work the next day, and I just wasn't tired. All I wanted to do was talk about Star Wars and come up with theories with people and go see it again. I was so tempted to just go to like a 3 a.m. showing directly after. And then I saw it the next day, and I thought maybe all of that would die down a bit because I had seen it, but it didn't. I got excited all over again, and I was just so happy to see everything, and the movie affected me again. I didn't think, I cried in the first time, there's no way it's going to happen again, and I did it the second time, and I probably will again. And that's why you need to see this movie, whether you're a sci-fi fan or not, a Star Wars fan or not. I think what this movie does is it captures the excitement and the spirit of Star Wars, not just as a film, but as an experience, just as just a cultural experience, being in line and getting to be in a theater where people are cheering when characters show up and when things happen. You don't get those opportunities a lot in a lifetime. And I'll get to see this movie a million times, but to be able to do it on an opening weekend or with a nice big crowd that's into it, that doesn't happen a lot. And so if you have the opportunity, I cannot stress enough, you should go check it out. It's breaking all sorts of box office records as it deserves to. It's so fantastic. And I cannot wait to sit down with Christine and maybe even Steve and just dig into all the spoilers, because there's just so much to talk about. And I'm so excited, not just because the movie is great and the experience is great and it moved me so much, but because this is the beginning. There's still episode 9, episode 8, episode 9. There are these spin-offs. Like, this wasn't a one-time thing, and I'm so excited for that. And this was something that I didn't think I was going to get to see until I was an old man, and I just still can't get over the fact that it's happening. Anyway, there's my short review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to talk about the movie in the comments, please keep it spoiler-free. I'm going to be pretty militant about that in this video. With the spoiler-filled review, you could talk all you want about the things that happen. Let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments below or on Twitter. I'm at RobPlays. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time for the next Star Wars review, which will probably be in a couple of days. Bye, everybody.